Look at this image. You've seen it before. It is the most famous photograph of nothing ever taken. A jagged, pitch-black hole in the tapestry of the cosmos, framed by 1,000 distant stars. Every viral video, every pop science article, every late-night forum thread uses this image to represent the Boötes Void, the Great Nothing. They tell you that if you were placed in the center of this abyss, you would see nothing but blackness in every direction for 300 million light-years. They tell you it is the place where the universe simply ended. They are lying to you. That image is not the Boötes Void. It is Barnard 68. It is a small, cold cloud of molecular dust sitting just 400 light-years away, right in our own galactic backyard. It is half a light-year wide. It is a cosmic pebble. The real Boötes Void is not a black patch in the sky. It is not a curtain of dust. It is something far more terrifying. It is a three-dimensional fracture in the architecture of reality, 330 million light-years across. It is so large that it should not exist according to every law of physics we have written down. And unlike that dust cloud, the Boötes Void is invisible. You cannot see it with your eyes because it isn't a presence of something dark. It is a mathematical absence of everything. When you look toward the constellation of Boötes, you see stars. You see the familiar glow of the Milky Way. But as you push your gaze further, past the stars of our own galaxy, past the local clusters, you hit a wall of silence. In a volume of space where there should be 10,000 galaxies, there are only 61. It is a graveyard of light. And the few things that do live inside it, the lonely, isolated galaxies drifting in that hollow expanse, are behaving in ways that defy the very evolution of the cosmos. We have spent decades trying to understand why this hole exists. We have called it a crisis in cosmology. We have theorized about ancient cosmic wars and alien civilizations Dyson-sphering entire star systems. But the truth is colder. The Boötes Void is not a mystery to be solved. It is a warning. It is a glimpse into the ultimate fate of everything we know. And as we peel back the layers of this anomaly, we find that the void isn't just empty space. It is a gravitational engine that is actively draining energy from the universe, a place where time itself flows at a different rate, and a structure that proves our current understanding of the universe is fundamentally, catastrophically wrong. To understand the scale of the Boötes Void, you have to understand the 1960s rule. Astronomer Greg Aldering once remarked that if the Milky Way had been located in the center of the Boötes Void, we wouldn't have known other galaxies existed until the 1960s. Think about that. For the entirety of human history, from the first time an ancestor looked at the sky to the dawn of the space age, we would have believed we were the only thing in existence. No Andromeda, no Magellanic Clouds, no Great Attractor. Just us, surrounded by a blackness so profound it would have defined our entire philosophy, our religion, and our science. We would have lived in a universe that appeared to be a single island in an infinite, eternal ocean of nothing. But we don't live there. We live in the cosmic web, a dense, vibrant network of matter where galaxies are strung like pearls on threads of dark matter. In our neighborhood, space is crowded. Galaxies collide. They merge. They tear each other apart in a violent, beautiful dance. This density is the norm, but the Boötes Void is the exception that breaks the rule. Discovered in 1981 by Robert Kirshner and his team, the void was initially thought to be a mistake in the data. They were mapping the redshift of galaxies, measuring how fast they were moving away from us to determine their distance, when they found a hole. A massive, spherical volume of space, 700 million light-years from Earth, where the signals simply stopped. At first, They thought it was just a local underdensity. But as the surveys grew deeper, the hole grew larger. It is approximately 330 million light-years in diameter. To put that in perspective, the Milky Way is about 100,000 light-years across. You could fit 3,000 Milky Ways side by side across the diameter of the Boötes Void. Its volume is nearly 236,000 cubic megaparsecs. It represents roughly 0.2% of the entire observable universe. That might sound small, but in the context of the cosmic web, it is a monstrous anomaly. It is like finding a desert the size of a continent in the middle of a rainforest. This is where the math fails. We rely on a model called lambda-cdm, our rulebook for the universe. It dictates that space should be homogeneous, a smooth, predictable soup. But the Boötes Void is a 330 million light-year error. It shouldn't have had enough time to form since the Big Bang. It's a structural impossibility that we are forced to treat as a reality. And yet, there it is. But it's not just the size that's the problem. It's the inhabitants. When we finally looked deep enough into the void, we found 61 galaxies. In a space that size, there should be at least 2,000. These 61 survivors are the loneliest objects in the known universe. But when astronomers began to analyze the light coming from these void galaxies, they found something unsettling. According to the standard rules of galactic evolution, galaxies in isolation should be red and dead. They shouldn't have enough gas to form new stars. They should be stagnant, ancient, and dim. Instead, the galaxies in the Boötes Void are screaming with life. They are what astronomers call blue cloud galaxies. They are vibrant, gas-rich, and forming stars at a rate that far outstrips galaxies in our own dense neighborhood. Take the case of IZW81. It is a massive galaxy sitting deep within the void. It has an active galactic nucleus, a supermassive black hole at its center that is actively devouring matter and blasting out radiation. In a dense cluster, a galaxy like this would have been harassed by its neighbors. Its gas would have been stripped away by gravitational tides. It would have been quenched. But in the absolute isolation of the void, IZW81 has been allowed to evolve in pristine silence. It is a zombie galaxy that refused to die. It is a hyperactive, star-bursting monster that has grown more powerful because there was nothing around to stop it. This is the first great contradiction of the void. The emptiness doesn't cause death. It fosters a strange, runaway vitality. These galaxies are unmolested. They are the purest examples of what a galaxy can become when it is left entirely alone for billions of years. They are bluer, hotter, and more chaotic than anything in the cosmic web. They are anomalies living inside an anomaly. But as we go deeper, the physics gets even stranger. Because the Boötes Void isn't just a place where there are fewer galaxies. It is a place where the very fabric of space and time is stretched thin. There is a theory in cosmology called timescape cosmology, proposed by David Wiltshire. It suggests that our understanding of the universe's expansion is flawed because we assume time flows at the same rate everywhere. But Einstein's general relativity tells us that gravity warps time. In a dense region of space, like a galaxy cluster, gravity is strong, and time flows slightly slower. In a massive void, where gravity is almost non-existent, time should flow faster. According to this model, a clock placed in the center of the Boötes Void would tick up to 35% faster than a clock here on Earth. If you lived in the void, you would see the rest of the universe aging in slow motion. Billions of years would pass in the void, while only a fraction of that time passed in the cosmic web. This isn't just a science fiction concept. It's a potential solution to the greatest mystery in modern physics: dark energy. We invented dark energy to explain why the universe's expansion is accelerating. We see galaxies flying away from each other faster and faster, and we assume there must be some repulsive force pushing them. But timescape cosmology suggests that this acceleration is an optical illusion caused by the difference in timescales. We are looking out from a slow time region into fast time voids. The expansion isn't actually speeding up. Our perspective is just warped by the emptiness. If this is true, the Boötes Void isn't just a hole in space. It's a window into a different reality where time is unchained from gravity. It is a place where the universe is literally moving faster than it is here. And yet, even this doesn't explain the void phenomenon. In 2001, the legendary cosmologist Jim Peebles, a Nobel laureate, pointed out a devastating flaw in our models. He noted that while we can just barely explain how a void as big as Boötes might form, we cannot explain why it is so empty of dwarf galaxies. According to our simulations of the early universe, even if large galaxies are rare in a void, there should be thousands of tiny dim dwarf galaxies scattered throughout the darkness. They should be everywhere. But when we look into Boötes, we find nothing. Not even the crumbs. This is the missing dwarf problem on a cosmic scale. It suggests that there is a process at work in the universe that we haven't discovered yet. Something is preventing matter from even beginning to clump together in these regions. Or, more disturbingly, something is removing it. This brings us to the integrated Sachs-Wolf effect. When light from the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, passes through a massive void like Boötes, it loses energy. As the light enters the void, it falls into a shallow gravitational well. As it exits, it has to climb back out. But because the universe is expanding, the void has stretched while the light was traveling through it. The exit is shallower than the entrance. The light loses more energy than it gained, resulting in a cold spot in the cosmic microwave background. The Boötes Void is literally draining the energy out of the light of the creation of the universe. It is a parasitic structure, a gravitational sink that leaves a permanent bruise on the map of the beginning of time. When we look at the cosmic microwave background, we see the shadow of the Boötes Void cast across 13 billion years of history. It is a ghost of a structure that shouldn't be there, pulling energy out of the very photons that define our reality. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery about the Boötes Void is its shape. For a long time, we pictured it as a perfect sphere, a bubble of nothing. But recent mapping has revealed a faint, tube-like filament of galaxies running through its center. It's not a single void. It's a collection of smaller voids that have merged together. It is a supervoid in the process of consuming its neighbors. Imagine two soap bubbles touching and then merging into one larger bubble. That is what is happening in Boötes. The void is growing. It is eating the cosmic web. As the universe expands, these voids naturally expand faster than the dense regions. They push against the filaments of galaxies, compressing them, thinning them out, until the filaments snap. When a filament snaps, the two voids on either side merge. The Boötes Void is a graveyard of smaller voids, a predator that has been growing for billions of years, slowly dissolving the structure of the universe to create a larger and larger expanse of nothingness. This is the ultimate fate of the universe. This is the Big Freeze, or the heat death, happening in real time. Eventually, all voids will merge. The cosmic web will be torn apart, thread by thread. The galaxies will be pushed so far away from each other that their light will never reach their neighbors. The entire universe will become a single, infinite Boötes Void. a place where star formation is a distant memory, where time flows at a furious, meaningless pace, and where the only thing left is the cold, energy-drained radiation of a dead beginning. But there is one final twist to this story, a realization that shifts the Boötes Void from a distant curiosity to a local nightmare. For years, we looked at Boötes and felt a sense of cosmic vertigo. We felt lucky to live in our bright, crowded corner of the universe. We looked out at the great nothing and felt safe in our great something. But in 2013, a team of astronomers led by Ryan Keenan, Amy Barger, and Lennox Cowie made a discovery that changed everything. They found that the Milky Way is not in a typical dense region of the universe. We are not in the center of the action. In fact, we are currently sitting inside a void. It is called the KBC Void, named after its discoverers, and it makes the Boötes Void look like a puddle. The KBC Void is 2 billion light-years across. It is the largest underdensity ever mapped in the observable universe. We are living deep inside a hollow shell of space where the density of galaxies is 30 to 40% lower than the cosmic average. This is why we have the Hubble tension, the fact that different ways of measuring the expansion of the universe give different results. When we look at the distant universe, we see one speed. When we look at our local neighborhood, we see another. This is because we are looking out from the inside of a massive, empty bubble. We are the anomaly. We are the inhabitants of the dark. The Boötes Void isn't some alien frontier at the edge of the world. It is a mirror. It is a smaller version of the very structure that defines our home. We are the lonely galaxies. We are the ones living in a region where the physics of the standard model doesn't quite fit. We are the ones whose perspective is warped by the emptiness. When we look at the Boötes Void, we are looking at our own reflection. We are seeing what happens when the universe begins to fray at the edges. We are seeing the architecture of nothingness that will one day claim everything. The Boötes Void is not where the universe ended. It is where the universe is ending. It is a slow-motion collapse of structure, a silent expansion of the abyss that is happening right now, 700 million light-years away, and right here, in the space between your eyes and this screen. We used to look at the stars and see a map of where we were going. Now, we look at the voids and see a map of what we will become. The blackness isn't a lack of information. It is the final answer. In the end, there will be no stars, no galaxies, and no observers to wonder why. There will only be the void, invisible, cold, and perfectly, terrifyingly empty. The Boötes Void is a reminder that we are guests in a universe that is fundamentally hostile to structure. We are the brief, flickering sparks in a dark room that is rapidly growing larger. The 61 galaxies in that void are not just distant objects. They are a preview. They are the last holdouts in a desert that is consuming the world. And as we continue to map the darkness, we find that the desert is much, much closer than we ever dared to imagine. We are not looking into the void. We are the void looking back at itself. And in that silence, we find the only truth that remains, that the universe didn't end at the Boötes Void. It just finally found its true form, empty, eternal, and alone.